Dark clouds are hanging over Europe. The European people have been utterly betrayed by their elite. The magnitude of this conspiracy is unprecedented in human history. Our ruling elite has turned out to be a mere corrupt lackey of global capitalism. These high-priced parasites have stolen the Europeans, their livelihood, their land, their future, and their self-esteem. These prostitutes of the corporate world have exposed Europe to an endless rampage of brutal beggars and forcefully denied Europeans any means of defending themselves. We have become powerless. We have lost control over our lives. We are denied our place in this world, and our spirit is waning. What once was ours has been taken away and given to greedy aliens. What we once held sacred is ridiculed and mocked by arrogant intruders. What once was familiar to us has now been degenerated into something strange and threatening. For decades, Europeans have been taught to hate and despise themselves. Generations of Europeans have been brought up believing that the world would be a better place without them. They have been brought up to feel the crushing weight of the white man's endless guilt. Europeans are constantly reminded that only through self-destruction can they pay for the sins of their civilization. The death of Europe is the fashion of the day, our demise a sign of progress. The disintegration of the traditional Europe a way forward, the predatory invasions against Europe only the latest trend, self-hatred a sure sign of intellectual thinking. We are called to celebrate the physical, intellectual, cultural and spiritual collapse of our civilization. We have already been brainwashed to believe that the collapse is inevitable and that it is a law of nature that we should die out and the barbarian hordes at our gates should win. Under the disguise of liberalism, humanism and democracy, Europeans have been persuaded to commit an ethnic suicide. A race that has achieved so much and has survived so much has been tricked to welcome its own downfall and to take active measures in order to become a stranger on its own soil. We are witnessing the most vicious and cruel conspiracy in history, the conspiracy to replace the European people, a systematic campaign to wipe out the Europeans from the existence, first by socially degenerating the people and then through mental and physical retardation, to paralyze the ability of the people to resist, to poison the very biological stock where all the great deeds of the past once grew, so that in the end a herd of geldings would be easier to usher to their death rather than the once proud race of warriors, craftsmen and explorers. But as our situation deteriorates, the harsh realities of life will force the European people to open their eyes. Undoubtedly, the media will try to deny the truth until the end, and the academic elite will keep on spreading lies as it has always done. But once we hit rock bottom and face doom, the truth will come out. They may preach leftism, liberalism, feminism, love and peace, reason and tolerance, but as our desperation and anger grows, the old instincts start working again. We are biological beings, after all, and we have the will to survive, the need to protect our offspring, and the urge to defend our territory still intact. They cannot erase them from our genetic makeup. You can fight nature only so far, but once you have crossed the line, nature strikes back. This is a struggle between sterile theories and the primitive forces within us, between high-flying, politically correct ideals and our atavistic passions. And in the end, life will prevail over theory and abstractions. The war for the liberation of Europe means that in the future, global politics will be dictated by our biological needs and instincts. The collective beast of the Europeans will take over and replace the soft, polite, liberal and civilized superego. It is clear that when the beast takes over, tolerance and moderation step aside. The European revolution will be the revolution of the subconscious. The modern world has turned into a deadly trap to us, and in order to break free, we will turn to the dark side of our personality for strength. Many of you may ask, will it be too late? Maybe the aliens are already too strong when Europeans finally awake. How can we beat them if we are already in the minority? We will win the intruders because our resolve is stronger. We are defending our own soil, and our roots go deeper. We will win because our existence is at stake. Our strategic advantage in this struggle is that we have no place to go. Once we realize that we are cornered like rats, we will unleash a frenzied attack. The war for the liberation of Europe will be the climax of our history. Because of this war, everything that has happened to us so far makes sense. Our history is a gradual development so that in the end we would declare this war. This war is the logical conclusion of our past and a direct consequence of what has been done to us. The powers that be can only blame themselves. This war is also the beginning of our future, something we will create together as one powerful nation. After we have dealt with our enemies, there are no limits to what we can achieve and how far we can reach. We must in the end admit that we actually need this crisis. This crisis will bring out the best in us. It will harden us, make us stronger and wiser. Without this crisis, there would not be unity among Europeans. Only the sense of imminent death will bring Europeans together. Only the looming peril will force Europeans to find each other as brothers and sisters, and only the burning hatred toward a common enemy will help Europeans to erase all national barriers dividing and weakening our race. The war for the liberation of Europe will finally weld us Europeans together. It had to be this way. Economy, technology and some artificial political ideals were never enough to create a nation. The liberal fantasy was doomed right from the start. Instead, we need this intense pressure from the outside. We need this struggle over life and death. We need this explosion of shared emotions, fear, hatred, rage, love, loyalty, courage. In the end, blood is united with blood, and we will witness the birth of a nation. This common struggle, the tears of loss and the tears of joy, the memories of those who return home and the memory of those who die in battle will create the myths that bind us Europeans together until the end of days. This war will erase our troubled past and give us the future. We absolutely and categorically need this war. We need one more war, a war of all wars, one magnificent, glorious, noble, mesmerizing, enticing, breathtaking war. We must never be ashamed to admit that the resurrection of Europe requires the greatest war this planet has ever seen. As long as the Europeans were on top of the food chain, running their colonial empires across the planet, we didn't have to worry about the survival of our race and civilization. Europeans were only concerned about fighting other Europeans and becoming more powerful at the expense of their racial kinfolk. But now we have lost the colonial empires and we are about to lose everything else as well. Under the pressure, we will, however, adapt, learn and evolve. And as a result, we will become more cunning, cruel and ferocious. This crisis teaches us to win. This crisis forces us to win.